here, bro. I'm back in the building, back in the country, back in the motherland. Not really, but you know, basically English now. I left London in a wheelchair, so these last 2 months in Barcelona have been all about, well, obviously getting the surgery, getting into rehab, start moving my leg. As you can see, I'm able to walk now. Still not very natural doing it because it's only been a couple of days without the crutches, but you know, getting the feeling back. And yeah, it's been a weird month, loads of ups and downs. I've been, you know, very down at some points, very high at some others. You know, especially when you see your knee getting better every day. There's nothing that makes me happier. I think today it's the first day at the training ground, and the boys got a day off, so I'm not going to be able to see them. But I'm just going to get my rehab up and running. Probably the fact that there's not going to be a lot of people around is going to help because I'm going to have more time with the physios and stuff. But can't wait to see them, and I think they'll come back tomorrow. So yeah, excited for both things. Home. Being back in London was good. Everything just felt like back to normal. I'm back home. It took me, I was there for like 3 days until I went to the training ground. I was anxious, I just wanted to see everyone. And then turns out that the first day at the training ground, the boys were off. They could have chosen another day, but it was so good to be back and just start a new phase of my rehab. I mean, I've been in every single part of Colony because I've been in the under 18s dressing room, under 21s, 23s dressing room, been in the first team dressing room. I've used the academy gym, I've used the first team gym, so I've done the rounds there. It's like a family, you know, like there's, apart from the team, there's around 20 people that work there day to day and you see every day. And not many of them have changed in the time that I've been there. It's a place that I miss a lot when I go on holiday, you know. When I go away in the summer, I do miss Colony, so yeah, somewhere that I feel so comfortable. Arsenal means so much to me. I mean, I had an amazing upbringing when it comes to football in the Barcelona academy. So lucky that I was there for 8 years. But Arsenal made me a footballer. Arsenal made me a professional footballer. Arsenal saw my strengths, saw my weaknesses. Well, I was Steve Bold at that time, or the scouts, and they knew what I had to work on. And they gave me the trust, they gave me the confidence, they believed in me, and they did everything in their hands for me to be a first team player, then to be a starter, and now to get through my injury, and to get back to my best.
We started at similar timeframes. Hector was a young 16-year-old player, just moved over from Barcelona. He's a high-level player from the word go. He had excellent natural ability, talent that was developed over time, but we could see that talent could be developed.
I'd say Hector and me are pretty opposites a bit. When we lived in digs together and stuff, I would be tired in the weekends and I'd want to rest at home and watch Super Sunday, watch the games and chill out, and he'd be on the move, finding something to do in the city and visiting somewhere or going somewhere. When I first came to Arsenal with the injury and living away from my family, and for me it was a relief to have someone like Hector next to me, pulling me and dragging me out of bed sometimes to do something to get my mind out of my injury.
Arsene Wenger played a massive part on everything. Steve Bold, Unai, the people that are behind the scenes that you don't name, but you know that they helped my family get flights to London in my first few years. It's a massive club, but it's such a family club. It has such a family feel to it. There's a good atmosphere anywhere in the training ground, and you know, those friendships, those relationships were so important for me because that was my family then. You know, my family wasn't in England anymore. They were in Spain, so my English family, or the family that I chose, were these people. Cool, mate.
Text Gary. And then you're at the conference tomorrow as well,
Yeah.
So
Speaker.
straight back into it.
Straight back, mate.
And I say,
I love doing them things though, so I don't mind.
and you got
Extends more than Mariah.
that's true, yeah. You could have got into that one as well.
Yeah.
But no, and
He was buzzing to be back because, well, he's been here a significant part of his life, and coming here also, I think, represented a stage on the rehab that things become more dynamic, you know. So you're out of the protection phase now. It's over the 6 weeks, and now it's the time that we're gonna really go for it.
I know I didn't really meet him when you
Very good, mate. You?
25.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, pal. Good on you.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Very good. Very good, yeah. Yeah, very good. Couldn't wait to be back.
What about how do you walk in?
Walked in well. That's it. I thought he was basically doing one crutch, but no crutches.
No, no crutches, nothing.
Well, you're confident, yeah? You don't
Yeah,
feel any issues
yeah.
at all?
Yeah. For the last week, they were teaching me how to walk without crutches again in the rehab, and then the past 3-4 days I've been without crutches to make sure that when we arrive here, everything was good.
Do you feel confident, yeah?
Yeah.
Walk in, you can
Yeah.
stand on one leg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bit warm, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, just taking girth measurements as well. So once we get
Are you getting any pain?
No, not really. Only when I really like straight it a lot, then I feel a little bit inside, but.
So let's see. You've now got flexions on a little bit. Perfect. You're back to normal.
Perfect now. Perfect.
Normal, it's lovely.
So when Hector came back from Barcelona, I think it coincided with about 7 weeks post-surgery. So, I mean, the first thing is we hadn't seen him physically. So certainly we had staff travel over to Spain and see him infrequently across that 7 weeks. But for a lot of us, we actually hadn't physically seen him. The first thing was it was just great to see him about. The second thing was we needed to sort of outline to him sort of then and there that, you know, the work starts now. We need to structure things up.
The rehab in Barcelona and the rehab in London was so different because I was obviously in very different stages of rehab then. At Arsenal, it was tests every week to see numbers that I'm getting better. Yeah, it was all more movement. It wasn't just about my left leg anymore. It was all about the whole body. When I came back to London, after not being done any gym or running or anything for 2 months, my body was such a mess.
He's certainly a guy that he likes to have things mapped out for him. He also needs a rationale as to why we're doing X, Y, Z. He's a very clear thinker in terms of the content and what he thinks he needs as well, which is great. So we just started that process, that collaborative process of, okay, here's where we need you to be. This is the timeline we've got to do it in. Let's crack on.
all the other thing that goes with it.
What are you telling them, bro? Right, brother. How are you?
Very good, man. Yeah, man. Good to see you,
Why is
bro.
it
You
not
too,
working
man. How's
now?
it feeling?
It's alright, man.
Yeah.
Getting better, getting better.
Well, if I
Joining
put that in your... Good to see you, Dan.
You coming to Dubai as
So-
well, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Be there, get some sun and that.
We're doing a bit of skydiving. Basically, this is what we're
All
sorting.
together. Jumping all together.
Yeah.
Jumping all together, bro.
Yeah, in tandem.
I ain't doing no sky.
Why not? Mate, just you see in bird's eye view.
I'm gonna just land on my right leg, it's fine.
I took my left, mate.
Yeah.
How is it?
Very good, bro. I was on the walk bike, I was doing a lot of upper body, swimming pool, and it was all a bit more holistic. It wasn't just like focused on the knee. Now it was, you know, my upper body needed to get stronger because my knee was still the main thing, but I was working towards other things too, and I had other goals, whether that was like my body fat, whether that was feeling strong again and feeling like an athlete again.
Everything we sort of layered in here in the gym was obviously a lot of nitty-gritty strength focus, but in addition to that, we had a lot of reactive strength or plyometric work, so hopping, jumping, landing, bounding, some acceleration work, and starting off very basic, but across all those sort of factors and facets, having a bit of a continuum. One of the big things with Hector is it needs to have some context for the pitch, and being Spanish, I think there's a real feel that it just needs to be related back to the game. How do you move? How do you want to move? What's the demand of the game? And what do you need to survive, especially Premier League football?
Any questions?
Thank you, mate.
It's
See you
looking
tomorrow.
right, you're moving really well.
Thank you.
The basic movement patterns and foundations that you had there, which is what we wanted to see today,
Yeah.
are all in place.
Perfect.
So it's now just building
Amazing.
on top of that,
Amazing.
This is my first day at the training ground yesterday. I just went there with one of the physios, Jordan, and just checked how my knee was really. Did some movements, some measurements, some tests, and everything looked good. They were really happy. I'm excited just to see what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I think I'm gonna have to do. I think tomorrow I'm doing gym session, as in upper body, which I haven't done in a long time, probably 2-3 months. So see how that goes, man. I hope they have mercy. Oh yeah, I'll see you, family, tomorrow.
The first 2 months were slow and hard. Sometimes day to day, as I said, it felt like it was going backwards, but then, when you start on the Monday and you thought back to the Monday before, what were you doing? There was always big progress. I saw myself so far from physically, and that really played with my head. Once in London and I was in the training ground and stuff, I was a little bit in the swing of things now. I think London life took my mind off rehab way too much, because when you're a pro athlete, you have certain things that you can and you can't do, and at that time I wasn't competing, so I spent too much time with my friends, going out, sometimes drinking, because you can't do this when you're playing. You can't drink during the week when you have 2 games in a week. So at that time I was mentally not the best place. London has the good and the bad, and depends on how you look at it. There's always something to do. There's always a new restaurant to go. There's always a new club you can go to. There's always a party somewhere. There's always friends somewhere. At that time when I wasn't competing, I wasn't me, because I didn't have football. I didn't have, my life. I defaulted to those things, to the going out, to the drinking, and to not taking care of myself as I should have. And I remember one day, one of the conditioning coaches, Barry, which is a good friend of mine, he said to me, Hector, I know what you're doing, man. I know you tell me you go for a drink, and you only have 1 beer or whatever. But I know what you're doing, and this is not the way that you're gonna get better. I felt like I needed someone like him to tell me, because I was like, you feel like, oh, that is fine. I just gotta do a little bit of rehab tomorrow. I just gotta do this, I just gotta do that. I ain't gotta train. I ain't got to prove my coach that I'm ready for the game. So sometimes it just takes someone to tell you something like that. And not everyone would say things like this, especially, in football, when there's such a difference in between, the staff and the players. And he was honest with me, and he kind of opened my eyes. And since that day, I was like, yo, Hector, what the fuck are you doing? Get your shit together. As I said, there was loads of ups and downs during this process, and we're human, and it took him to say this to me, to actually fix up and be the best I could be, not just the exercises or the massage or the tablets you can take, but all the other stuff that you do for the other 18 hours that you're not at the training ground. Arsenal always hold a CMS conference. Gary asked me to speak on it. You know, he told me like, are you happy to talk about your injury? And I said, yeah. You know, there's a lot of world leading doctors and physios and people in the industry there. So, you know, it was good to somehow feel, you know, like I was doing something good, like sharing my knowledge or my experience with them.
Good for you, I think.
Before me,
Marcus.
what's your name? Not Marcus, nice to meet you, Hector.
Yeah, you're the last one out.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous, man. I've never spoken in front of so many people.
No.
I've played football, but never spoken, so
No.
I don't know.
You managed good.
It'll be alright. Yeah. Do you speak a lot? Like, do you do loads of talks?
Yeah, a few years.
Yeah.
A few times a year.
Okay.
In English.
What do you do?
I'm a researcher for the UEFA.
Okay.
For the injury studies. So
Okay. Cool.
I collected data
Oh yeah.
on your knee.
What did you think of it?
No, nothing. Just get the information.
Yeah. Would you get like about like how it happens or why it happens and
the
stuff
injury
like this?
mechanism and associated injuries and type of graft, etc. So
Okay.
collected it. So
And then what do
I
you-
will mention a little bit about the
Okay.
study.
Yeah. I thought it was ideal the fact that I got injured before I spoke in front of so many medical people.
Yeah.
That's cool. I kind of miss that, man, because before, you know, I spoke at Oxford Union, I've done talks before, and I hadn't done that in a while. Somehow, everything just felt like back to normal.
This is the 9th year of our conference, and the point of our conference has been to bring the very best people from all over the world, not to look for magic answers, but to generate discussion. I'd like to start off by introducing one of our players. Hector Bellerin has been here, this is my 10th year at the club, and he's been here at the club for as long as I can remember. Started off as a young fella at Barcelona, worked through the Barcelona Academy, very close to where he was brought up. But he moved over to Arsenal in 2011. Within 3 years, he'd worked his way into the first team, and in his first year in 2014, he played 30 times for the first team, a year in which Arsene Wenger described him as somebody very, very special. And actually, as you'll see now when we have a chat with him, he's very different to your usual athlete. There are many, many aspects to his game, to his profession, but also to his lifestyle. In that period, since 2014, he's become one of the most influential members and one of the leaders in our dressing room. And he's certainly an outstanding, special person to listen to. Unfortunately, even before we'd arranged this, Hector had never suffered a serious injury. But unfortunately, 7-8 weeks ago, Hector ruptured his cruciate ligament. So he's now 6 weeks post-op. He's been through one of the most traumatic events of an elite special athlete, so it's even more appropriate that he's going to give us a talk here today. But ladies and gentlemen, Hector Bellerin. Without being too down about it, just tell us a little bit about how the injury, you've never, in the 4 or 5 years, you're never in my office, you're never in the physios, you've had the smallest little injury. How's the ACL affected you?
So, it's weird to say, but it's probably one of the best things that's happened to me. And I don't know if you remember when I got the injury at first time, you were telling me like, oh, Hector, maybe this is nothing, maybe it's only a couple of weeks. I said, Gary, it doesn't matter. If it is a surgery, if it's 9 months, I'm ready to take the challenge. And I feel like when I did my injury on the pitch, I was crying. I was crying because I was scared. This is something new for me. But half an hour after, I was like, okay, this is, as I said, this is something new. It's a new challenge. Let's just look at it with a positive mind. There's going to be, you know, other things that I'm going to be able to do in this time. It's been a tough process, but it's been something that's taught me a lot about myself and you know, made me stronger for sure.
Out of time there, Hector, but happy birthday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Cheers. Thank you. Once I was back in England, it's a long time, but it also goes so quick. there's struggle, but there's also high reward, and there's also beautiful experiences that happen within the struggle.
You learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about your mental strength, and if it happens again, that's something you never forget, and it's something that will help you the whole career.
For someone that has a passion to be told that they cannot do that thing for the next 9 months, 12 months, whatever it is, because you really don't know, it's heartbreaking and it's very hard to deal with. And I don't think many people in the industries outside of sport get put in those situations.
That's something I found with my injuries. Once I went back to training, sometimes you take training for granted, and when you spend a long time out, and you know it's how hard you've worked to come back to be able to train every day with your teammates, and you learn to appreciate that a bit more.
The first 2 months were slow and hard. You know, I was in the gym for like a month, and then the month after I started running on the pitch, and then after that I was already touching the ball, and then somehow I was only a month away from like training with the team, and everything just comes so quick after. So yeah, definitely I could see a lot of progress from the time I spent in Barcelona and then coming back into London.